Every era of humanity has been defined by the materials we learned to shape. Today, we stand at the beginning of a new one. Welcome to QuestHut. For most of human history, civilizations were shaped by the materials they learned to master. First came the Stone Age, when simple tools carved out the earliest human progress. Then the Bronze Age, when alloys allowed kingdoms to grow, expand, and conquer. The Iron Age reshaped warfare, agriculture, cities, and empires. Much later, silicon silently built the digital world we now live in, powering our computers, our smartphones, and the invisible networks connecting us all. But today, a new age is emerging, one defined not by strength, hardness, or abundance, but by the ability to hold and release energy. We now live in a world where machines are no longer just tools. They are companions, assistants, and extensions of ourselves. And what they need to function isn't oil, coal, or steam, it's electricity. The freedom to move, to travel, to communicate, to compute, all of it depends on energy that can be stored, carried, and used anywhere. And at the center of this revolution is a metal that doesn't look like power at all. A metal so soft you can cut it with a blade. A metal so light it floats on oil. A metal so reactive it bursts into flames when it touches water. This is lithium, the metal that powers our future. If you enjoy science explained clearly, with depth, without watering it down, consider subscribing. Think of it like adding one more cell to this channel's battery. The more power we have, the more stories we can explore. Lithium sits at atomic number 3, near the very beginning of the periodic table, where the simplest elements live: hydrogen, helium, and then lithium. Because it is so small and so light, it behaves unlike most other metals. Its outer electron is held so loosely that it practically leaps away at the first opportunity. When lithium interacts with other atoms, it gives its electron easily, and that simple, tiny act is the heart of battery chemistry. When we talk about batteries, what we're really talking about is the movement of electrons from one place to another. A battery is not much more than a controlled chemical argument between two sides, one that gives electrons, one that accepts them. Lithium, being eager to donate electrons, is exceptionally good at being the giver in this system. It moves electrons fast, it moves them efficiently, and it cycles back and forth thousands of times before wearing out. And because lithium atoms are so light, lithium batteries carry a lot of energy without adding much weight. This one fact changed the world. Before lithium batteries, portable electronics were limited by the heaviness and inefficiency of older battery types. Lead-acid batteries, for example, worked well for cars, but were far too heavy for handheld devices. Nickel-cadmium batteries were lighter, but they lost capacity over time and didn't store much energy to begin with. Devices powered by these older batteries had to either be large or have very short battery lives. That meant technology stayed on desks, plugged into walls, tied to one place. Then lithium-ion batteries arrived. They were light. They stored a lot of energy. They held their voltage. They recharged again and again with minimal loss. They didn't just improve battery life. They made portable computing real. Suddenly, computers could leave desks. Phones could leave homes. Music could travel in pockets. Cameras could roam the world. Headphones could become wireless. Technology wasn't just available. It was with us all the time, everywhere. Lithium didn't create smartphones. Lithium created the age of personal electronics. And now, it is doing something even bigger. It is changing how we move. Electric cars were not possible at scale until lithium batteries became efficient and affordable enough to store enough energy for long-distance travel. The electric car revolution, every Tesla on the road, every BYD, every charging station, began not with car companies, but with chemistry. The moment lithium-ion batteries became good enough, the future of transportation shifted. So where does all this lithium come from? The story begins in two very different landscapes. In Australia and parts of China, lithium is dug out of hard rock, usually a mineral called spodumene. These mines run deep, carved into tough stone, crushed and processed through chemical steps to extract pure lithium materials. Far away in South America, the process looks completely different. Under the blinding white salt flats of Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina lies salty groundwater, a brine rich in lithium. This water is pumped into shallow pools, spread across vast open fields, and left to evaporate under the intense sun. Over many months, as the water disappears, lithium salts remain behind. These are then refined into battery-grade lithium. This region is called the Lithium Triangle. It holds more than half of the world's known lithium reserves. But possessing lithium and being able to use it are two very different things. Because turning raw lithium into battery-ready lithium is complex, expensive, and technologically demanding. And China currently dominates nearly every stage of that refining and battery building process. This gives lithium a new kind of power, not chemical power, but geopolitical power. The nations that control lithium production and processing hold influence over the energy systems of the future. Just as oil once shaped global alliances and conflicts, lithium now shapes supply chains, manufacturing strategies, and national energy policies. But lithium, like every major resource in history, comes with consequences. Mining lithium rock disturbs landscapes and ecosystems. Extracting lithium from brine consumes enormous amounts of water, often in places where water is already scarce. Communities living in these areas sometimes face reduced access to fresh water. Indigenous groups in places like the Atacama Desert have raised concerns about both environmental impact and cultural disruption. These issues are real and they matter. Yet, the alternative, continuing to rely on fossil fuels, carries its own set of devastating consequences, including pollution, climate change, and environmental destruction on a much larger scale. No energy source is perfect. The challenge of the 21st century is not to find a solution without drawbacks, but to improve the solutions we have. This is where the story becomes hopeful. Scientists are now working on new kinds of lithium batteries that store more energy, charge faster, last longer, and are safer. Solid-state lithium batteries replace the liquid inside batteries with a solid material, reducing fire risk and potentially doubling range in electric cars. Lithium-sulfur batteries may one day store several times more energy than the lithium-ion batteries we use today. And lithium recycling is improving rapidly, turning old batteries from phones and vehicles into new battery materials. In many ways, silicon gave machines their intelligence. Lithium gives them their freedom. It allows our devices, and soon our cars, our homes, and our power grids, to operate without being physically tied to a source of electricity. It is what makes mobility, independence, and electrification possible. But every age eventually ends. So the real question is this: will lithium remain the king of energy storage for decades to come, or is another element waiting to take its place? Sodium, magnesium, hydrogen, graphene, many contenders exist. But for now, lithium sits on the throne. If this video sparked a new way of seeing the world, share it with one person who would appreciate it. One share is like one charge cycle. It keeps knowledge moving. Subscribe to QuestHut, where curiosity powers understanding. Thanks for watching. The story of lithium is still being written, and we're all part of where it goes next. See you in the next video.